Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Hello and welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages. I'm Matthew Shipp, your host today, and I am here with Sharon Colona of Avocado Tea Company. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great. So let us know a little bit about Avocado Tea Company and how you started that, and what was your journey to getting this going, and what made you want to start a tea company?
Well, truthfully, I never envisioned starting a tea company. We were planning somewhat of a retirement process, and we knew that we wanted to build a home in a warmer spot because our current location is St. Louis. So we went out to California, looked at a lot of different areas, a lot of different properties. I knew I wanted a view, and we came across one piece of property that had the most amazing view, and it was also attached to 550 avocado trees, which I didn't want. So we walked away from it, and we continued to look for property for probably about 6 months. But when we'd go out to California, we would stop by that property. We'd take a bottle of wine. We'd go up at sunset. We'd sit up there because it was just vacant land. It had a pad on it. And then one morning, my husband woke me up and said we needed to see sunrise. So we went up there and had our morning coffee. And that's pretty much when I made a decision that, okay, this was our piece of land. And I started talking to a grove manager just to figure out the ins and outs, because I just didn't want to take on another project when we were trying to wind everything down. So in my mind, 550 avocado trees didn't look like retirement. So I had to talk with the grove manager, and realized that is super easy process. They take care of literally everything. They pick, they tell you when to water, they walk the lines, they make sure that nothing's broken. They let my husband takes care of them when we sell, the time that we sell, but you get prices every single week on avocados, and it's up to you when you want to pull the trigger and take them down. If the price is high and you pull it and you say you want to pick, then they pick within that week, and then maybe you lose out for a higher price later. So it's kind of a little gambling game, but that's pretty much the only decision that we have to make is when are we going to pick? And the time frame is between February and June. So we just watch the market, watch the prices, and then decide when to pick. They send somebody out, they put it all in 1,000-pound containers, bins, these giant bins, and take them off property and sell them. So we ended up with 550 avocado trees, and I started doing research on all things avocado because prior to this, I am from St. Louis, and I didn't know where avocados. You could have said they grew in the ground like a potato, and I would have never known the difference because I'd never seen an avocado tree. I just never paid attention. I knew I got them at the grocery store, but honest to goodness, I had no clue. So I thought I would start studying and doing research and trying to figure out, just the basics. All I wanted to do was be able to carry on an intelligent conversation with my grove manager. So when he said to trim, I would know how much to trim, because I did find out that there's a lot of trimming involved with avocado trees, a lot of watering, a lot of fertilizer, a lot of all of that. So I just want to have basic knowledge. And I kept coming across the leaves that you could boil for health.
The avocado leaves?
Yeah, avocado leaves. Exactly. Okay. That's what I said. So at first I came across just a lot of, I think I was trying to figure out what to do with our trimmings, because the tree grows 3 feet in circumference a year. So you have to go in and trim everything all around you harness the energy away from just all the excess, and it makes you water less, which is good, and you get a larger fruit set, because the larger the tree, the more kind of waste there is. Now you're feeding that many more leaves, you're feeding that many more branches, what have you. So it's kind of like a tomato plant. You just want to cut it back to get the most amount of fruit and harness the most amount of energy for the least water, and water is expensive in California. I kept coming across a lot of, originally there were old wives' tales, like, I took it for backaches or menstrual cramps or kidney stones, or really nobody, it was for everything. I mean, you you couldn't pinpoint what people really thought it was, like the Vicks of Spanish culture. They just used it for literally every problem that came up. As a matter of fact, once we opened this tea company, I had some gal say, my grandma used to give it to me for everything. She's like, I had menstrual cramps, I had to take it. I had a headache, I had to take it. I had a toothache, I had to take it. I had a urinary tract infection, I had to take it. She's like, I stubbed my toe. She's like, wrap an avocado leaf around your toe. Like literally anything that came up. So it's been well known that people have drank it for years, but just I wasn't sure exactly how beneficial it was, because a lot of it was just dropped down from generation to generation. Then I started finding actual studies on it, and studies that were so intriguing to me that I decided I was going to start drinking this tea myself, because it was really good. It's
Really?
like cholesterol, like all things that you can't say for FDA, but the studies are out there for diabetes, for cholesterol, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. I mean, there's a million, I've got over 50 studies on our website right now, and every time a new one comes up, I put it up there. I put it under the category that it addresses, whether it's for kidneys or urinary tract, or right now they have studied the avocado leaf, avocado bark, avocado seed, literally everything on the tree they've studied. And that's what really started piquing my interest. So I sent our leaves off to be analyzed, first and foremost, because I didn't want to just start drinking extract of an avocado leaf if somebody failed to say they're poisonous.
Or it's a different cultivar or something.
Exactly,
yes.
a different
Okay.
cultivar or whatever. And so I sent it off and spent a fair amount of money, because I was like, I just want to make sure that I can drink this and that it's completely and totally safe. So you run the gamut. The company that I talked to, I gave them like carte blanche. I said, I just want to make sure that this is consumable for me, and there's no problems with it. So I got this litany of stuff back, just everything. And I called them up, and I had the chemist on the phone, and he went line by line with, there's just all these words that I had never heard of before. And he's like, super healthy, very healthy, super antioxidant, couldn't be any better, great for this, great for that, as we went down the list. And I just said, is there anything on here that would be harmful in any way? And the answer was no. So I started drinking it, just research and drink and research. I would just sit up at night, and I just was so intrigued because I kept finding more. The actual name of the avocado leaf is Persea americana. That's like the cultivar name of the avocado. That's where you found all the studies. As soon as I figured that out, that's where legit studies from. And then I ended up finding this patent from all these doctors, cardiologists, head of a hospital. What was the other? Natural food scientist. There was like 10 different people that went on one patent to make a pill, and all that's inside of the pill capsule is avocado leaf, crushed, nothing else. And they put it up, they had to, and the patent's on my website, because I downloaded it, and everything that's we talk about on the website is the research is there. I uploaded it all, so not only I give you the summary, and then you can go in and read the entire piece of research, no matter what it is. If it's for urinary tract, you just go in and click the link. It'll take you directly to the study. So, long story short, very long story, I just fell in love with the tea, and one day I was like, this is it's too good. How can you not do this? Nobody was doing it. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I'm like, how is nobody doing this? This is the healthiest leaf in ever. Like literally one doctor said it. It was at the end of a conclusion, which I have on our site. It's the healthiest leaf he has ever studied. Ever. He was like a plantologist. That's when I decided it was what we were going to do next.
That's really cool. That really kind of makes the plant biologist and me kind of geek out a bit. I did not know that. I never thought about tea from an avocado. It's almost like the avocado fruit, eat your heart out. Have you heard of the leaves yet?
Yeah.
That is wild. So I'm going to extrapolate a bit and guess that this is where this influence of this avocado leaf turned into tea is what started avocado tea.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I made the decision that it was just something I wanted to do. And not knowing anything about, so jumping right on in, I didn't barely even drink tea.
Over 3 years, just getting started, what were some of the biggest challenges you ran into learning about this industry?
Boy, everything. So one of my biggest challenges was there's no tea companies in the United States. we don't grow tea here. We're not, everything comes from India and China and overseas, Africa, but we don't really grow a lot of tea. So there's no milling. There's all the things that you need to do to make tea. Drying facilities. Pick your tea leaves. You have to take it to a dry all your tea leaves. Then you take it to a miller. So that's all the process that goes on in China. But when you're here, and there's just no one. So me trying to just find those people, which were a needle in a haystack, which I have finally found them. Even just tea packaging places. There's 3 I know of in the United States. Three choices. And that's it. So just the learning curve that it took, because this is, it's just a really hard, I don't know, but no, it is, it's hard. I'm sure even at this point, now that I know probably only 50% of what I need to know, it's still really, really hard.
How long? It's been 3 years. How many years did it take you to source all these pieces together to create your own product?
Well, at the time, I was multitasking a lot. So I think the beginning, once I knew it was safe to drink, once I was drinking it and had all the studies in place, I would say it was about 8 months until we launched. So I designed the canisters. I've owned businesses before, so I knew how to start up a company in 2 days. But other than that, I started working on the website, designing the canister designs, figuring out our leaf process, how to pick the leaves, what leaves to pick. That was another thing. The good thing is I had been drinking it for about maybe 8 months before then. So I knew there's specific, you don't want to get, there's specific size leaves that you want, and there's specific trees that taste better. We use Haas avocados, and actually I really prefer Haas because not only do they taste really, really good and much better than anything else we've tried, but 99% of the studies are always done on Haas avocado. So I don't know what the property difference would be of switching to a different avocado leaf. Probably not a whole lot, but I just like that everybody's drinking exactly what product is in all of the studies, variety.
I want to go back to you kind of mentioned in passing, but this is a big deal for a lot of entrepreneurs trying to figure it out. I could start up a business in 2 days. You have, I believe we talked about this before we started, is you're a lifetime entrepreneur yourself. What are some of the things that get in the way of new entrepreneurs to kind of get their business up and running and get it making money?
I would say primarily mental limitations, because it depends on what you start. As I said, this was very, very difficult for me, and I've already done it. Not a million times, but in my life, I started a beauty salon when I was 21. I opened a second location for my beauty salon. I needed a place to advertise, so I opened up an advertising company downtown. I opened up a second location in Clayton. I started a book for the Merritt's company because they also needed an advertising publication, so I decided to help them out for a little bit. And then I've owned my own real estate company for 23 years. So I've done a lot. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things like own an advertising company, advertising publication. I'd never done that before. So you're kind of starting from scratch and learning things. And it was all a whole lot easier than this. But I would say the biggest thing, or the biggest reason for this is just so much of a learning curve. And the thing that has always just been, I guess, harder to do when you're an entrepreneur is just to not look at the obstacles so much as obstacles and more of just, I need to overcome this today. Let me just get past this today, because there's a lot. And if you're not used to it, I mean, in a regular job, it's just so structured, and you go in and you know exactly what you're going to get for the day. And there's not fires that you just, in general, there's not like fires that are going to damage your entire company that you need to put out today. All of a sudden they're just popping up. It's more, I'm just working 40 hours a week and I'm going in and I'm doing my job. So it's easy to get into your head and get overwhelmed and feel like it's just harder than maybe it even actually is, because, I still have to tell myself that all the time, because it's just easy to get overwhelmed in this business. So I just have to, stop, think about it. There's an answer. You just have to get to it and get it done.
Well, that's great advice for a lot of people, and this entrepreneur here interviewing you. So we're going to move on towards our journey of harvest to pour. So I like taking everybody through this journey from sourcing your material to producing what is unique, making it uniquely yours. And the pour is more of the advertising and how you get customers' feedback. How do you know people want to buy what you have, and moving that forward. Go ahead and take us through. I believe you said sourcing is pretty challenging for you. Can you take us through that a little bit? What are some of those open challenges you're having?
Well, first, we are located in our grove is in California. So we pay, so an average picker, I think the last I looked, the average picker worldwide is $2.50 a day. And primarily it's women picking in China and in Indonesia. So in California, we pay over $25 a day, probably $25.50, $26, somewhere in that. It just depends on the year, but we average about $25 an hour. So the price difference right there is, incredible, which everybody's like, how come your tea's not $4 like Lipton? There you go. Mm-hmm. You know, that's one of the biggest, because trust me, this is not a giant moneymaker, but we pay well. And I don't feel bad about that, because, you know, we're paying a living wage, and I picked before. I know how hard it is. This is not easy. You know, they stand around and pick leaves off of a tree, which you think, whatever, but it's hard. It really, after a while, it's just so tedious. You just clip, one leaf at a time, and they inspect the leaf. So
one leaf at a time?
It's one leaf at a time. Clip. And then the leaf is 50% water. So if I need, like this last run I just did, we did 2,500 pounds. I needed to pick 5,000 pounds of leaves. Each worker does about 80 pounds a day. So you just have to do the math. And then we have to work around weather challenges. And then we have to work around different workers, because at the beginning, since we just pay by the hour, we would get a lot of people that just did not pick as quickly, and I had to go out, and I personally went out and spent a day with them picking, and put them all to shame. And so the grove manager that was overseeing them did that whole macho thing and said, this woman just outpicked you almost twice as much. I need you guys to step up your game, which, believe it or not, was the best day I have ever invested, because after that, everybody knows 80 to 100 pounds is what they should be picking. If I can pick it, you can pick it. Each worker does about 80 to 100 pounds. They pick it, then we dry it. Right now, our drying facility is on our property. It's just a building that we have that we dry in, and it's small. We need a much larger facility.
Is this your property out in California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we pick, and then it's just right there. So it's easy, but we can only, what is our limit? Our limit is 400 pounds a dry cycle, and it's 800 wet, 400 is what we're going to walk away with. So 400 pounds every single time you dry, and it's a slow dry. So it's a 10 to 12 day dry. And so then we can't pick during that time, because our entire building is filled up with nothing but leaves. And we have, like floor to ceiling shelves that all the leaves are on. So then after those are dried, and we do as many rounds as we need to get through, we send them to a place in California also to be milled. And he does milling of all kinds. He does like sage and just pretty much anything that you would find ground up in your spice rack. He mills for people, not specifically tea, but I talked to him, and he said he could help us out there. So we sent it to him. We have it trucked up, send it to him. He mills it. Then we send to Pennsylvania right now. I've got another source that I'm going to try this next time for co-packing that is in by Lake Tahoe, right next to Lake Reno. So, but right now we're sending it to Pittsburgh, and there's a facility up there that co-packs it all.
So going back to your drying facility, do you kind of have a bottleneck right there between waiting for your tea leaves that you fill the facility to dry and a whole pile of leaves waiting, or you have to leave them on the tree? Yeah,
we leave them on the tree. So they literally, so that's the other thing. They have to be laid out to where they're almost not on, you can't do layers of leaves, because they're just so full of moisture, and we have humidifiers galore. But they're so full of moisture that they'll mold. So every single batch that we do, we also get COA tested just to make sure that there's no mold, nothing happened during the process of drying.
So I haven't seen an avocado tree myself, but I'm assuming you said they're full soil. Are they more about like a leathery, thicker leaf?
Yeah.
Okay.
The good ones are.
The good ones are.
Yeah,
that's what you're after.
Yeah, you don't want the little baby thin ones because they're bitter right now. But
so your storage is actually the tree itself then, because you don't have to worry about the harvesting, over harvesting or
Yeah.
Okay. So
no, we never over harvest.
So that removes that bottleneck a little bit between. You just have to wait till the drying's done. Yeah. The only bottleneck you have is just the time it takes to dry the leaf to move into the next batch. And if we had a larger facility, we wouldn't even have that. Depending on how many leaves, we would need a very, very large facility. But right now, it's about 1,500 square feet process. It's a time-consuming process. And what are some of the other challenges in that process that you're working on right now to overcome?
I think picking is the hardest. I would really like a good facility, a good drying facility. That's like number one for me because I don't like it to be on our property. It's like you're never leaving work ever, especially my retirement home that I was going to just lay out by the pool all day long and do nothing. Now I'm pushing leaves around all day. I would really like our own driving facility. We do need to get some place closer than Pennsylvania to Copac, so that's why we're going to try the place out in Nevada or up by Lake Tahoe. I need to get more organized with the men that pick, or find a better process with that, because we're still all across the board. Every now and then I'll get somebody who picks 40 pounds and I'm paying them just as much. I mean, you got to figure that boils down to 20 pounds, and I've now just spent $150 for that day, getting 25 pounds out of that guy.
That kind of reminds me of I'm helping a coffee shop tweak their processing right now because they're moving into grocery. So now they have to take their normal roasting processes and compress them to be prepared for the volume that they're going to get. And we've done things like map out their steps by steps as they currently exist, then run theoretical amounts past that and see if it stands up. In the process, they usually discover their bottlenecks or ways they can move things. So they realized their roasting process was taking them 3 days, but they realized if they really compress and take out some of the things they do throughout the day and put them in other days, they can do their roasting, their bagging, and delivery almost in one day for the volume they have. And then they've created a system, of a lockstep system, so when their capacity expands again, they just take that exact same system they can do in one day and just move it to 2 days. So now it's an adjustable system for them, and then they can adapt from there. So
that's really interesting.
So I've been working with them to do that, and that just kind of reminded me. You said you can be tweaked anywhere. It's a really great step to take.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So what about now? We're going to step into the kind of the beyond the processing, but are you only working with avocado tea leaves?
Yes. I will not work with anything else.
So that's okay.
I mean, we do blends, just so that you know. So we
do blends.
Yeah,
okay.
So we do avocado, but the base is always the most substantial part of the tea is always the avocado leaf.
Okay.
Because honest to goodness, this is an absolute 1,000% true story. If this tea just tasted good, I would not be doing this at all. I would be boiling my leaves at home. I would have like a TikTok page to go, oh my goodness, try this really good tasty tea. You'll love it. But it's the health benefits. So I only stick with ingredients other than like our peach is not, everything's organic and all natural and the whole 9 yards with our peach, but it doesn't really come with like chamomile. At least we have chamomile flower in there. So you're getting benefits of the chamomile also. So I really try the peach is more of a flavor profile, and it's one of our best sellers.
So you do offer blends, but you work primarily and only with your main product being the avocado tea leaf.
Yes.
Describe to us what a just straight avocado tea would taste like as far as...
we've had we actually got reviewed in the New York Times by a food and wine critic, which I was excited about,
That's very neat.
who gave us a quarter page. She said it tasted like a fine oolong, which I had never had before. So I didn't even know. I was like, what's a fine? I'm reading it going, I hope that's really good. But just the word fine, I was like, yay, that has to be good. So she said fine oolong. I personally think it tastes very much like a very smooth green tea.
Okay.
But that being said, and it has a lot of the properties a green tea has. A extraordinary amount of properties a green tea has. That being said, it's also kind of unique in its flavor. Like when I have a cup at night, I would never confuse it with a green tea. Like if you sat two down,
It was unique.
you could definitely tell this is avocado leaf tea. Like you would know instantly.
So basically, usually my question is, what makes it uniquely yours? What makes it uniquely yours is I think you're the only one doing avocado tea that I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I do know that some people sell the leaves. I just saw that the other day because I was Googling something, and then I saw, somebody came up with it, buy the leaves and make your own tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with it just because the more people out there that are drinking the tea, the better.
Yeah, that's only going to help people make knowledge, and they're going to use a different product possibly with it, but it may drive it to you as well. Yeah, absolutely. Advertising or getting out the benefits of avocado tea and getting people to adopt that. How's that journey been?
Hard. Again, every step of this. Sometimes I wonder if this was a great move or my worst move I've ever done in my entire life because so much has been an uphill mud. We've done a lot, and I finally located a really good social media marketer company that I use that I absolutely love, and he's been doing a phenomenal job because it is a learning curve. Nobody has ever heard of. I mean, we do shows, we've done conventions, we did the avocado avocado festival in Carpinteria. So we kind of try to get as much information out there as possible, but it's a brand new product. Nobody's ever heard of it before. So you just have to start at square one and then let them know all the benefits and then go from there. And it was really hard. I tried a lot of companies because originally, I think I'm going to do it all on my own. I think I'm going to do everything. That's where my mindset is. So I'm going to go and I'm going to learn Facebook and I'm going to learn TikTok and I'm going to learn Instagram and I'm going to be in Google ads and Amazon and Walmart. Like I'm going to learn them all. And then I realized quickly that it's just a lot. And that's why people specialize in every single thing is because you could spend your entire life studying Facebook advertisement just to get to the point where my guy is good. And I was doing a lot of things poorly. I was doing everything poorly. And then I moved from that to trying to hire people. And it took me quite a long, costly, expensive journey to locate good people, to finally get it down, because everybody's going to improve your bottom line, increase your sales by 40% and all the things they're going to do. So now I've got a handful of people that are really working well and are getting the word out for me. I'm still trying to find a good PR company, so if anybody knows of one, that would be amazing. But that has been a little bit of a struggle, and I'm finally we're finally increasing our business quite a bit. We've sold out, I don't even know how many times now. Probably 6 or 7 times. Of just different products, or 3 or 4. Right now we're out of 2, but by the end of the week we will have our lemon and black back. And then we have quite a bit of inventory right now. We invested a fair amount, so because we were just running out. And believe it or not, tea people are not the nicest people when you've run out of tea. You would think everybody's like laid back tea and whatever, but I run out of my peach and I get all capital letters. What's the matter with your company? Well, I've been out of peach tea for 3 weeks now. I'm like, okay.
So was there any one strategy that really started to get people's attention towards your avocado tea?
I think social media has been the biggest of everything. Right. As of right now, I still have not felt that the tipping point. There's always a tipping point in a business where somebody gets it, or some kind of large something is out there, because right now we're steadily increasing, and we have been, and I can't complain about it. We've sold out and we've been doing a really great job, but there hasn't been that crazy tipping point to where like, oh my goodness, now 30% of the world knows, or 30% of the United States knows about it, or what have you. Like, we're still onesie and twosie people, little by little.
Has the data shown you with the social media that it's people are more reactive to the education side of what avocado tea has to offer, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that also they gravitate to?
No, I would say the educational part of it, and actually it's funny, but I hear this now that it's happened. I hear it all the time. We had one video that they had my social media company had asked me for a video because they were going to put all the benefits on the side of, so that I just want you to be pouring some tea. And it was the middle of winter, so we couldn't go outside. We couldn't have any kind of pretty background. So we just did it in this white box, and I hated it. I hated the color of the tea. Like, I hated everything about it. There was nothing good about this video, but I sent it over. I said, here's a placeholder. Give me a few days, and, let me just wrap my brain around it, because he had hit me with it kind of last minute. I said, let me see what I can get done by this weekend, but here's your placeholder. Just horrible. Hated it. He put it up. I wanted to call him and say, please take it down, because the tea looks, our tea is a really rich, beautiful red color. I love it. It's when it's done correctly, when it has time to steep. And this is like this yellow color. Yeah. And it pretty much went viral. That was one of the reasons why I had to, why we ran out and quickly, and we scrambled to get 5,000 more pounds so that we could hurry up and stop.
That one went viral, the one you didn't care for.
Well, I told him, I'm like, isn't this crazy? It's the ugliest video I've ever seen in my life. Like, first off, it looks like I shot it from my phone, which I did. Second off, the tea, it looks so unappealing. I'm like, it couldn't be any worse. Like, all of it. I didn't even like the font you used on the side. So, regardless, I gave this video a 1. And he said, we see it all the time. He's like, it's just crazy. So now, sometimes when I send him different things to try, he'll say, hey, do something like this or do something like that. If I hate it and I think it's really bad and I'm going to redo it, I'll still send him both versions. I'm like, here's the one that I just do not care for at all. And then here's the one I tweaked and made beautiful, and like the sun is beaming down and everything's all perfect on this one.
All right. So the lesson learned is don't limit your options.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. You also mentioned earlier about organizing your team pickers. You've got the drying process all the way through the marketing and the creation and the blendings. I'm sure communication plays a huge piece of this.
Oh, yeah.
How has that contributed to the overall success in this Harvest the Poor journey?
Well, I would say more than anything, this is a business that I am more dependent on other people. And I'm more dependent on the pickers. I'm more dependent on the miller. I'm more dependent on my co-packer. I'm more dependent on my shipping companies. There's so many people in the process that help make this. It's really important, one, for communication to be good, everything to be clear, and then two, honestly, to pick the best people to work with is so important. And honestly, also with just limited 2 millers in the United States, I've got to pick the best of the two. I mean, honestly, it's not like
hard and easy.
Exactly. One is in South Carolina and does a really great job, and the other one is in California. He also does a great job. He just has got a very odd time schedule where sometimes it's done in a week, and other times it might be 2 months.
By chance.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was a little bookstore cafe in Maine. We were vacationing up there, and it had a little sign, open by chance. I was like, I would love to own a business like that.
Yeah, that's exactly our miller.
Yeah,
that is
okay.
exactly. Sometimes he just goes on vacation. You try to get him, and he's completely gone. And I'm getting screamed at because I'm out of tea, and so.
What are some ways you've generated new ideas to either solve some of your problems or create new products?
I'll go online and ask for help often. I'm big on asking for help. If I need it and I can find somebody that I think can help me. Like right now, I've decided almost every single decision I make is going to be like anybody else I include, like my PR company I just said. I will not hire a PR company unless it comes directly from another human that I know that endorses that company and says they have done business for me and they're doing a great job, because I've had just so many learning curves from every single place out there pretty much that I've tried, and everybody is always going to be great, but very few are. Now I would just say I put 90% of my energy into communicating with other people, finding the right people to join my team or that I should hire, and making sure that I don't make those mistakes again because they're so costly.
So you lean heavily on referrals.
Yes.
And the relationships other people have.
I probably will never hire another person again unless it comes from a referral.
Okay.
Because I've made too many of my own mistakes. I will hang up the phone thinking, I'm going to tell you that I had a PR company. I was so excited. $5,000 a month. These people, they're going to be so great. They were very nice. $15,000. I didn't even get a blog out of it. It was the worst. I mean, I might as well have just burned the $15,000 in my. So now, if anybody would call me on it, I would say never in a million years use this company. Mm-hmm. But it cost me $15,000 to figure it out. So, I mean, and that's just kind of one example, because when you're in a brand new business, it's just hard. It's like finding a builder for your house. You just want somebody that knows what they're doing, and they're good and they're effective, and you can trust them. So
okay. And how do you going back to the marketing and your customers knowing how much they like it or what they like, or especially with your blends, how do you validate those different ideas or different products you come up with?
Well, right now we have a app on our website. I believe it's Okendo. I'm 99% sure it's called Okendo. They ask for testimonials afterwards, or just not even a testimonial. It's just, what do you think of the tea? Which tea flavor do you like the best? And, they even send out quizzes to our customers just so that we can I already know by my sales our top. And I had picked our original blends, our original 5 blends, just based on the top selling on Amazon. That was my deciding factor of what 5 blends. Personally, I don't really enjoy chamomile tea, and it's one of our better sellers. I drink our natural like it's going out of stock. It's my absolute favorite, but I just knew chamomile was a big seller. So, but with that, we get lots of testimonials from it. I love the health testimonials are my favorite of all, but we get lots of testimonials back from our customers just saying how much they're enjoying the tea, or they liked it, or they've never heard of it before, and it's so unique, and it's their favorite tea now. And so definitely the testimonials are helping you kind of guide you with what you need to produce, less of what something else, and it seems to be working very well. Yes. All right. Also keeps me in the game every day. A lot of times I will personally email them back and just say, thank you so much. I needed that today. I needed to hear that your cholesterol levels haven't gone down, because it's been a tough day. And some days you're just like, do I want to do this? And then that just brings it all right back. And you're, yes, I do. I think it'll be a legacy project is what I think. I think if one day the entire world is drinking avocado leaf tea, I'm going to know I was the one that started that, and I'll be happy with it. That's a great piece of reciprocity, just to kind of keep you going. Yeah, definitely. One more time on all your little challenges you're having. Let's say you had solved for all your challenges, and you've got the processing down to a science. What does Avocado Tea Company look like in that aspect? Where do you want to go with that? Worldwide. Yeah, I would like to go. I mean, we get people who ask all the time, and right now I'm trying to stay as concise and small, because I realize our limitations, and we're already disappointing people in our very small market by the fact that we continue to run out. I'm not ready to get there yet, but if I could get everything streamlined perfectly to where I never have an ingredient, our primary is ingredient, because it takes so long to pick, it takes so long to dry, it takes so long to mill. It's way harder than any other type of tea that you would. I mean, even those tiny tea leaves, they dry so quick. And then I'm sure they all have drying facilities, because they're professional ones, because that's what they do for a living. And we just haven't made it there. And I would probably need a 5,000 square foot drying facility. And that would, then we'd just be picking, and then I'd have to find groves that I could pick on every single day. Yeah, I was wondering if you've expanded on your 550 trees. No, really? We can, because you can take a lot off of a tree, and all it does is help it. Believe it or not, it does not hurt it. And on occasion, I would say on occasion we've picked outside of our grove, very, very, very seldom. But if it's somebody that's trimming at the same time we're picking, we'll just send some more workers over, like, because they're going to throw them away anyhow. So we'll just take their leave, especially if I know, like, grove owner and there's healthy trees out there and there's like not loved groves.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting down to our final few questions right now. And I know you've mentioned your favorite beverage, but go ahead and review. What is your favorite beverage again for the teas you make?
I love our natural. So I do two things every single day. One is drink our natural tea every single night. And my husband is funny because he'll still ask me, which one do you want? Because he thinks I'll switch it up every now. Like, I'll take a lemon. I don't know. I've started with the natural. It's never gotten old or boring. The most I'll ever do is maybe at Christmas time, stick a peppermint stick in it and just give it a little peppermint flavor. And then we sell Avo shots, which is, I was telling you about the crushed leaf inside of the capsule. Mm-hmm. We have crushed leaf as a powder form that you can put in a smoothie or what have you. And I start my every morning off with half of a teaspoon of avocado shot and then our Avo shot. And then in the evening, I drink my avocado leaf tea. Hot.
Okay. Hot.
Yeah.
Okay. Do people drink it cold?
Yeah, you can. And I do it in the summertime. I do it if we're having a barbecue or because people always say, do you drink it cold? If we have a barbecue or we have people over, obviously I always make our tea. Peach is a big favorite for gatherings. On a regular basis, I just don't drink cold beverage. I don't drink. Yeah.
So what's your favorite health benefit you get from avocado tea?
My blood work. So I'm just
really?
I'll just be completely honest with you. I used to smoke a long time ago. I smoked 25, 30, a long time, 30 years worth of smoking. And obviously it's bad for your health. So I gave it up. And everybody has said, how much better do you feel? Like, what? None. I've always felt healthy. My entire life, I felt fairly healthy. And I never felt any healthier when I did that. So now everybody says, how much healthier do you feel now that you're drinking this tea? And I would love to say, like, it's like I'm a whole different human. I'm not. I still just feel healthy. I don't feel any better. I don't feel any worse. But my blood work is amazing. My doctor is now one of our biggest supporters and buys our tea all the time.
Great.
Because, I've got perfect levels of it. When you get your blood work panels done and they put you in the red if you've got anything negative, you just scroll on down and mine is all just perfectly, and I'm 56, so.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, you would think I would have something that was high. I don't know. Something. Even my blood pressure is low. So, I am a pillar of health. And she became my best customer because I've never had really bad blood work. But my last time that I went to her, which was about a year ago, 8 months ago, it was so much better than the time before. And she's like, have you changed your lifestyle? And I'm like, I have been drinking my avocado tea every single night. That's pretty much the only thing I've been doing different. I always eat healthy and I always have. So, now she buys it for family, friends. Yeah.
All right. You got people buying.
Lives down the street. I'll just pick it up off my porch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have people buying in, doctors really seeing the benefits of this, and you're being test subject number one.
I am test subject number one. Exactly.
Do you have any upcoming events or promotions you'd like to talk about that's coming up? Or where to find your tea as well?
Yes, we are getting ready to launch our bundles, which is going to be where you can pick two of our teas. Right now we have all of our teas available, and then we have sets of two of each. So you could buy two natural or two chamomile, two peach, what have you. But a lot of people have emailed in and said they want to pick two and hopefully get a discount out of just two separate, completely different teas. So we're going to start doing bundles, and we're going to run a Black Friday sale. It's going to be 2 canisters for $25 with free shipping to your house, and you get to pick the two. Okay. So, you can mix and match. And if you add a subscribe and save on, you get an extra 10%.
Great. And where can we find you?
Avocadotea.com.
All right. And are you I know you're in some local stores here in St. Louis.
In St. Louis. So right now we're at almost 100 locations nationwide, but the majority of them are either in California, or we're in Straub's here in St. Louis, and we're in a few different specialty stores here in St. Louis.
Yeah, you're in a couple of health and wellness locations.
Health and wellness stores.
All right. Well, Sharon, this has been great. This has been very informative. I had no idea that people are making tea from avocado. I just thought it was I was trying to research it. I was like, that's an interesting name. Why would you call people making tea from avocados? That doesn't sound right, but it's just the leaves, and it was really neat. And from the benefits and how you've overcome your challenges, your serial entrepreneurship, and how that's brought you into your biggest challenge, which possibly is why you like it so much.
Could be.
Could be. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you being here on Harvest to Pour.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shipp. Check the show notes for our guest contact information. And connect with Matthew Shipp on LinkedIn today.